Hi everybody, this is Raphael from Ohio Tropics, and in today's video I'm going to show you how you can propagate your string of hearts in the most efficient way possible. I myself have these beautiful variegated string of hearts cuttings that someone sent me, lucky me, and because it's such a special plant, I want to make the most of the material that I have. So I'm going to show you how you can make multiple plants just from a couple vines. So I'll take you through the whole process. So the first thing that you want to do, and in your case it might be different, but for my vines I actually have some seed pods. These are the seed pods. I'm not going to plant the seeds because you never know what you'll get from seeds, especially from variegated plants, so likely it won't be variegated. So I'm going to cut those off. And if you have any flowers, let me see if I can find some here. Here's one. If you have any small flowers, go ahead and cut them off as well. So first, let me show you how to take the cuttings and then we'll proceed on to the next part. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to cut each group of 2 leaves that you see. So for example, here's one. I'm going to trim this kind of close to the leaves. Just like that. So you want each cutting to have the 2 leaves. So I'm going to go ahead and do this for all of them. So now I'm all done. I have all my little cuttings, and I love these little set of pruners. They have a nice pointy tip so you can do, some intricate work with them. I'll leave a link to these pruners in the description of this video below if you want to check these out. I use these all the time. Next, what you're going to do is simply place them in soil. So I already have here 10 pots. These are all 4-inch pots that I filled with a blend of cactus mix, potting mix, as well as some pumice. And that's P-U-M-I-C-E, not hummus that you eat. I didn't measure the amounts out strictly, but I use probably about 1 part pumice to 2 or 3 parts of the cactus mix. What the pumice does is it'll help the potting mix drain very, very nicely. And I like to use pumice more and more now instead of perlite because it doesn't float to the top as much as perlite does. I still use perlite, but I prefer to use pumice more and more now. I like to use Bonsai Jack's pumice. It's a 1/4-inch pumice. It's always consistent, high quality every time I ordered it. I've ordered it dozens of times already for my projects. So next what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply make a little hole with my tool here, place the leaves in, and then kind of firm the soil down a little bit. And what you want to do is bury the node. So wherever the 2 leaves meet the stem, right there, you want to bury that part right into the soil. And I'm probably going to do maybe 6 per pot. And the leaves are they're pretty much going to sit flat on top of the soil. Show you a little bit up close here. Make a little hole. Then I'm going to take my small cutting here, put it right in there. And cover the node with soil. Just like that. Next, I'm going to take my watering can, and what I like to do to water these gently is to just cover the tip of the nozzle and tip it over. So let's give the plants a nice watering now. So I have my 8 pots here, and I'm simply going to just gently open my finger over the hole. This provides a nice gentle watering, and you're not going to displace your cuttings by doing it this way. So I have all my pots watered now, and next what I'm going to do is I want to make sure that these stay nice and moist. That's very important for propagation. I place my pots in this plastic tray that's meant for flats. When you go buy your annuals, for the summer, you can use these. And then I bought a nice clear humidity dome. You can get these inexpensively at any nursery, or you can order them online as well, but any nursery should have these. And I'm going to place these on top, and I checked that the pots actually fit and allowed a little bit of space on top so that they're not butted up against the top here. This will provide enough humidity, which is very important for propagation. It helps a lot, and it'll also help to keep the soil from drying out too much. You want to keep a nice moist potting mix for the propagation to occur. Next, I'm going to show you where I am going to place these. I'm going to place them in the basement in my light stand on top of a heating mat. So in order to get really quick results or quicker results, warm temperatures are very important. My basement stays pretty warm, around 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Moist soil is very important as well, and if you can keep the humidity high, that really helps a lot. So here's my heating mat right under a nice grow light that I have, and this one is by Vivosun. I'll put the link in the description below. It's very inexpensive, and the instructions are right here. So I already plugged it in, and I can feel that it's nice and warm. It's not going to get super hot to the touch, but it's nice and warm. And it says here, this mat is designed to raise the rooting area temperature approximately 10 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit above the ambient air temperature. This is going to help a lot with the speed of propagation. So I'm going to set my flat right on top of this. And here we go. The flat actually sits perfectly. They're sized so that they fit a standard size flat. And here we go. I have my 9 pots of string of hearts. And here are the variegated string of hearts that I started. And this is after almost 6 weeks. Now I should say that I started to see new growth after not even 2 weeks. I was starting to see new vines. And again, these were held on top of a heating mat, so the growth was much quicker. Take a look at these beautiful, beautiful little vines starting to form. Now these, as they elongate, if you direct them onto the soil, or if they lay on top of the soil, they'll also start to grow roots and create a fuller crown so that your plant looks a little bit fuller. But here is all the growth. I also wanted to show you guys another option. Instead of placing the cuttings in soil, you can also place them into moist sphagnum moss. Initially, I thought this would create extra work because I would first have to root them in sphagnum moss and then transfer to soil, but I found a nice benefit. I actually found that it's a little bit easier to maintain this. So what I have here is just a plastic carry-out container. It probably had pad thai or something like that. And I save these containers because these are wonderful containers for propagation and they're free. What I did was I took some sphagnum moss and soaked it in hot water just for a few minutes to hydrate, squeezed all the water out, and then laid it inside of this container. And then I took the cuttings and inserted them exactly like I did inside the soil, but inside of sphagnum moss. So you can see here that these are actually starting to grow as well. The benefit that I found using sphagnum moss instead of just soil from the start is that the sphagnum moss, it's going to stay nice and moist and just at the right moisture level so that you don't have to constantly monitor it. That's assuming that you do want to squeeze the excess water out of the sphagnum moss. And by having the clear lid on top, it will keep it nice and moist and provide a nice environment for propagation. This particular one, I did not use a heating mat, and I can already tell that the growth is slower than the ones that I have in soil that are sitting in the heating mat and in the warm basement that I have. These are sitting in my sunroom that does not stay as warm as the basement, but they're still growing, and I find that they're just easier to keep that way. So what you can do is after these are growing roots and little vines, you can gently pluck them out and pot them up into little pots. So here you can see, look at the nice white healthy roots that are growing. And right here, you can actually see a little vine starting to grow right here. So check on them every couple days, every 2 or 3 days or so. If the top starts to feel the slightest bit dry, go ahead and water them. You do want to keep them nice and moist. So that's all, folks. Don't forget to check out my resources of all the materials that I used in this project in the description below. And I also included 2 corresponding blog posts. One of them details all the steps that I used in everything that I showed you in the video today with the butterfly method of propagating string of hearts. And then I also have another blog post with several other methods that you can use to propagate this plant. And if you've enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend, like and comment in this video, and make sure to hit that subscribe button. It'll help me out a lot. I hope you guys have enjoyed everything. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.